it feels that, okay, we are doing something good.
Sort of
That
a
comes.
Bollywood movie feeling that okay, I was looked down for this thing, but now I'm doing good. Something of that sort, right?
हाँ, you say this ना, अपना time आएगा.
Apna time. True, true. That's true. Hello, viewers, and welcome to your very own Tech and More. Now, as you know, podcasts are gaining high traction these days because of the immense value they're adding. So, we have also come up with the concept, but we have changed it a little bit. In the last few years, the attention span has reduced 30 seconds, 40-second reels, and all. So we thought that what if we reduce the timing of the podcast, the duration? As an example, I know a lot of people find it a little boring to watch 1.5 hour podcast or 1 hour podcast for that matter. So we have tried to reduce the time. That is, our podcast or speed podcast per se will not be more than half an hour. But yes, the intent is that we try to provide as much value as possible with the least amount of time, right? So I hope that this concept helps you. If you have any feedbacks, any suggestions for us, please feel free to comment. Cool. Now, uh, today's episode, a topic very, very close to my heart because I have been through this. We will deep dive into software testing and we will debunk some common misconceptions that are around this industry. Uh, you can be a budding tester, you can be a seasoned professional, you can be someone who's transitioning from some field into QA. I think you will hear some three, four very, very famous misconceptions or myths that will sort of terrify you. As an example, manual testing is dead. First of all, there is nothing manual about testing, but yes, we'll go with the industry terms. Then second, testers are paid less than developers. This is my favorite one. Then third is testers are less important than developers, and automation testing is going to replace manual testing completely, and so on. Right? Uh, I know that you might say, okay, you what you are doing right now, there are a lot of articles available on the internet which sort of debunk the myths, but we are not fully convinced. And I am with you. I hear you because even I felt the same. So to break that particular thing, to break that particular notion that, okay, I am going to debunk the myths, but with logic, because we have a guest today with us who is working as a professional QA, senior QA, with a very, very famous product-based organization. And she is going to debunk the myths, yes, but with logic and exact data, right? So by the end of this episode, I think you will have a fresh perspective on the value of testing and exciting career opportunities it has. Now, uh, I will just stop speaking now. I'll just talk a little bit about Rupal and then I'll give her the podium. So we have Rupal Chhabra with us. She has more than 7 years of experience as a quality analyst. Now she's working with Salesforce right now, the world's largest cloud-based provider. Even if you're not from IT, but you have heard something about tech, I know that you know what Salesforce is. Now, a little bit of her background. She began her journey at Accenture, and then since she has been working across various industries as in healthcare, finance, telecommunications, and so on. She has played a key role in delivering high quality software solutions that optimize business processes and drive efficiency. And her diverse experience and deep insights into the QA field will shed light on the importance of quality assurance in today's world. That is, using her experience, she is going to debunk all the myths with facts and logics. Okay. So finally, I'll stop speaking now, Rupal. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thank you, Chaitanya. I am doing perfectly fine and excited to be here. First of all, thank you for the warm welcome with such nice introduction. And I'm really excited to go through and discuss furthermore during
Yeah,
this podcast so that we can uncover some of the myths that you
yeah,
talked about.
yeah. And uncover these myths, debunk these myths with logic. So if people who are watching this find some different value as compared to the generic articles which are available on the internet. So, uh, Rupal, I did some research at my level and I came up with three, four most famous myths around in the industry. I'm going to go through them one by one, and then I want your opinion, your thoughts, whatever you feel related to that particular myth. And you know what? I don't want this to be a sort of a question answer session. I want it to be more just you talking talking your thoughts out loud. And I hope that people who are watching this particular podcast, giving their 25, 30 minutes, even if they're able to get 40, 50% value out of this entire podcast, I think our job is done. Yeah. So I'll start with the first myth, that is myth number one. So this is that people feel that I was mapped to QA as a fresher, and my biggest fear has turned out to be real. I think I'm doomed. I read this comment somewhere. Trust me, I read this comment. I'm just quoting the exact words. This is myth number one. So people think that if you're mapped to QA as a fresher, uh, your life is doomed. The heavy word. So did the same happen with you when you started as a quality analyst with Accenture? And how did you sail through across all those thoughts, everything, and reach to the present point?
So, Chaitanya, when I started, right, 7 years back,
Hmm.
I had the same feeling in my mind. And you won't trust, I literally cried in front of my friend
Hmm.
when I was giving testing profile, right? So,
Uh-huh.
when you start, it happens that you go some sort of trainings, and then people are divided into profiles that they're gonna
True.
pursue. So it
True.
happened with me, and I was mapped to the testing role.
Yeah.
Now, just out of college, I don't
Yeah.
think students know anything about testing.
Yeah.
They have just read about it in software development lifecycle, and post that they don't know anything. So the
Correct.
same feeling I had, and I had the stereotype in my mind that okay, testing is given to someone who don't know anything, who
Yeah.
are not technically versed, or since you're out of the trainings,
Yeah.
I was thinking that who score low in them, so
Correct.
that's why they are given testing. So it happened with me, and I also had this fear that now my future, I don't know, will go in what direction.
Yeah.
There won't
Yeah.
be any
Yeah.
progress. And so, same thoughts. But then,
Mhm.
fortunately, after 7 years, I can say those were seriously
Yeah.
a very big myth, and I can strongly say that 7 years down the lane, I'm very happy, and I can say that QA is a very important profession to pursue,
Yeah.
and it has got a bright future ahead.
That's good to hear. And I think uh, I am going to share this link to that particular article where I saw this comment. So maybe, or even the bit of this video. So maybe the person who is thinking so, they get a little relieved. And you know what? I think this person is not to be blamed, because we are in the same domain. Even I am working as an estate as a quality professional. I had the same thoughts. And you know what? When you try to console yourself that, you know what, I think I did some research and QA or software testing is not that bad as I'm thinking it to be. There comes one or two people in your life who are going to exponentially increase your fear. So you try to backtrack into positivity, and then you're going to go into negativity two times more, because they will just say random data, random things without any logic. But you are at that point of time that you are very easy to sway away, right? Did the same happen with you?
Exactly. So, you explore. So, when you search on Google, what happens? The back of mind, you're thinking something, and then you tend to see the
Yeah,
same things. So, it happens in the mind that things attract to you.
yeah,
What is actually running behind your mind, right? So you go through that articles. Oh, this will fade away. This
yeah,
will do. Uh, this can be this worse. Even
correct.
even if you are ill, right? You search for some medicine.
True.
You first see its you don't see its benefits, what will be the
Yeah,
cure, but then
yeah.
you see what will be the side effects. So
Right,
that
right.
happens, it's the human psychology. So
Yeah,
what is in back of your mind, you get to see the same things, and
yeah.
so negativity spreads more than
More.
the
Yeah.
positivity or the actual facts.
True, true. So I think going by this Q example or medicines example, or for that matter any diseases example, when we search on Google, somehow you tend to see things which you already have in your mind, and they sort of just get verified from there. But the catch is that it's not verified, right? So always, of course, we are just talking from the QA perspective. So folks who are watching this video, if you have just been mapped to QA, or maybe if you're planning to transition into QA and you have your doubts, please do not randomly Google and randomly just come up with your opinions. I'm not saying that me and Rupal, or specifically Rupal is our guest, she is an expert, that we are the best. We are not perfect. Nobody is. But try to get your answers from someone who's professional. Try to get your answers from someone who has seen it, right? And I think, Rupal, I think even you would agree to this, that we have been in this industry for more than 7, 8 years now, and I remember that a lot of people told me a couple of years back that, you know what, functional testing or manual per se is not important. The only thing is automation, performance, and everything. Manual, anything can do, right? I actually believed it because I was just 1 or 2 years into the industry. But then some senior told me in one of my organization, I still remember it. They said that the person who is saying, being a quality analyst, if they say that manual testing is not important, if they're saying this, either they have never worked, either their skill set is lacking, or they are just plainly lying. Because even till date, and he was a senior chap, he was VP and all these things. So he said that even in big organizations, you talk about Microsoft, you talk about Google, still functional testing is a very critical part. Yes, automation, yes, performance, yes, integration is a vital part of QA overall. But uh, I mean, the thing is that functional is the base of everything, right? I think
Exactly.
that is true. Yeah.
And
So
not only this, that the person who says that manual testing is nothing
yeah,
in comparison to other roles, I think they themselves haven't understand the role
correct.
they are into. Because
Yeah.
when you work as a functional QA or a manual
Mm.
QA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you yourself get a sense that I am doing something which is of that importance, that
Yeah.
everyone looks at QAs. Why
Yeah.
everyone looks at QAs
Yeah.
when a product is developed,
Mm-hmm.
and if something is not working well, why they look at us? Because
Mm-hmm.
they trust us that
Yeah.
whatever we would be giving to them would be something which they actually needed, and
True.
which would function as per their needs.
True. True.
They trust us because we are here. So
Yeah.
QAs are here, and so the product that they would be getting is perfect because
Yeah.
it is error free, it is well tested and everything. So I think they should themselves understand the
Yeah.
importance of the role, because QAs are the face which makes a product, you know, perfectly fit or
True.
suitable
True.
for the end customer to use.
True, true.
So,
And I think quality as a department is a vital part for any industry for that matter, not only for IT. As an example, you hear about these cars crashing or the security crashings to be almost 0 or 1. Why did this happen? Because there was not a good quality check, right? So I think
exactly.
any organization, be it any industry, the quality department plays a very critical role. And the sad part is that in other industries, the quality or the quality skill set is valued a lot. That's what I've seen in automotives or in, you talk about hospitality or anything. It's only in IT that the quality department is looked down, which is sad, because there are no logics, there are no factual things. And I always say, whoever asks me, that had QA not been that important, why is there a separate domain for QA? Why is there a separate path for QA? Why are we being paid? Why are, if developers or if clients would be able to QA well, test well, then why pay someone like you and me to dedicatedly work on this, right?
Give an example to someone who asks you and say, when you use an elevator, suppose
Yeah,
nobody tested that elevator,
correct.
and then instead of opening, or I would say, if you press one
Mhm.
wrong key, where that elevator will take you, it
Yeah.
can take your life, it can do something very worse. You can't even
Yes.
imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, just take an example. If you are not verifying something, if you're not testing something, how that can impact you. So
Correct.
that's the crucial role which testing
True.
takes, right? And in software as well, like if
Mhm.
you say you're building any e-commerce website,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Suppose it's not tested, the devs have developed it, and nobody is perfect. They got some error. They left to maybe implement some of the crucial thing, maybe the payment page, right? And
Mhm.
nobody verified it. What will
Mhm.
happen? Suppose
True.
people are placing orders with the minimum rate, which the actual rate is not, because
Correct.
nobody verified what is the
Yeah.
product price,
Yeah.
right? So the business can go
I mean,
can
it
fall.
can get messed up. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't even
Yeah.
imagine what
Yeah.
can happen
Yeah.
if a thing is not tested. So that is the crucial role testing
True.
has, and it
True.
and it takes place in every aspect.
Yes,
It's
yes,
not,
that's
yeah,
true.
everywhere it's needed.
And I think it's only after a couple of years that you realize that this is the criticality of this role. So that is why we are doing this speed podcast. That if you are new, You do not have to wait so many years to clarify things. So this brings me to the second myth, Rupal. So, and this is my favorite one. Uh, I mean, the most favorite one. That is, software testers are paid less than their counterparts. Counterparts, as in business analysts, developers, project managers, scrum masters. Out of all, the software testers are paid the least, right? Uh, I know that's not true. You know that's not true. But I want you to throw some light on this.
Yeah, so there is, I'll agree that there is a pay disparity
Mhm.
for QA and other tech roles. And the reason why I feel is because these roles, right, other tech roles, they have some additional skill sets. No,
Yes.
so if you see when you hire a developer, you see their proficiency,
Mhm.
what are the languages maybe they are pro into, what technologies they are working on. So basically that count as their
Mm.
credentials.
Mhm.
Consider a QA, consider a functional QA who got a good understanding. He's a good tester, but then how would you showcase, right?
True.
If you have some additional things like, ISTQB, that's a
Mm.
very known
Yeah. Yeah.
certification in the testing industry. So if you have an ISTQB certification, what will it add? It will add to your skill set. Okay,
Correct.
so Chaitanya is ISTQB certified
Correct.
QA engineer. That will make a make you stand out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or for that matter, if you say, I am into Salesforce testing. Now, Salesforce word ahead of testing makes
Yeah.
me that I have the expertise of working on Salesforce. Now
Correct.
that adds another skill set for me.
Yeah.
That okay, I am a QA, but then I have knowledge of working on Salesforce platform. So
Correct.
if QAs are also having some additional skill sets, or they are having little more exposure to some of the credentials which can count on for them, I think that will make a difference when you try to look for opportunities outside.
Correct. Correct. Fair enough. And this is quite a logical thing that if you have some added skill set, then yes, I mean, you can beat this parity. So, did you come across this situation wherein I'm not asking about any numbers or figures, but you realize that okay, you were talking to some friend or to some colleague, and just by the sort of discussions or from the idea of the discussion, you realize that okay, you know what, even she or he is working as a developer or maybe as a BA. I'm not quoting any role, any non-QA role for that matter. And my CTC is a little more as compared to this person who is a non-QA role. Has this ever happened with you? And I know if this ever happens, guilty, but yes, you do feel a little good. So has this happened with you?
Yeah, so if I consider myself, uh, when I started
Hmm.
from and when I transitioned into Salesforce, that made a difference for me.
Yeah.
When I was looking out before moving into Salesforce, I was getting uh, offers with a different compensation, but when I transitioned into Salesforce, the compensations were different.
Right.
So
Right.
this is for QA, but then I have seen, so few organizations, when they list openings
Yeah.
online, right? So they have this tendency of putting an average
Correct.
compensation, right, for the specific roles. And I was going through a few of them, and I saw not QA, other roles are
Hmm.
having a compensation which is lower than what I am currently having. The
Correct.
level of experience is same, the years of experience is same. The counterparts are different. These are
Hmm.
not QA I'm talking about, but they had a different
Correct.
compensation, comparatively less to me. So
Yeah.
there, I got to know that yes, this is a thing that we just have this myth in our
Yeah.
mind that
Yeah.
QAs will be paid less. It is not always or forever case.
Yeah.
Uh, Places you may find that, but then um, you try to enhance more, if you try
Yeah.
to add some skill set, or few of the other organizations, if you can try, you will find a difference that
But
can
but it,
happen.
it makes you happy, right? When this something like
For
this
sure,
happens,
because
it makes you
when
happy.
you start, when you look up
Yes.
to those roles and you see that, okay, we are nothing,
Yeah.
we'll all
Yeah.
be the least
Yeah.
important or last looked up people, and but when you end up grabbing and in the end, everyone wants to have a
Correct,
good
correct.
compensation,
Fair enough,
right?
fair enough.
So it feels that, okay, we are doing something good.
Sort
That
of a
comes.
Bollywood movie feeling that okay, I was looked down for this thing, but now I'm doing good. Something of that sort, right?
हाँ, you say this ना, अपना time आएगा.
Apna time. True, true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I think viewers are watching this. I think you have a convincing answer. No, we're not saying that any role is good or any role is bad. The only thing is that we are trying to prove that quality in itself is a very lucrative role. If you talk about technical progression or you talk about money, so do not get demotivated. It all depends upon your skill sets. It all depends upon how you are working in an organization. So I mentioned the word technical progression, Rupal. So that brings me to the next myth. The myth number three is that there is no technical progression as a quality analyst. That is not a lot to learn, not a lot to grow professionally or skill set wise as a quality analyst. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so what I think, these questions come in your mind when you are monotonously working on
Correct.
the same thing.
Hmm.
So we being a functional QAs, it happens sometime that you tend to work on same thing again and again, and it gives you a sense of feeling that there is nothing new I am doing, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
these thoughts come to your mind when you are into that state. Now, so I would say when you are QA, right, you should consider few things in my mind. So I'll
Hmm.
take my reference.
Hmm.
So I am a Salesforce QA,
Hmm.
and since Salesforce has numerous clouds, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So since QAs are never limited to one technology
Hmm.
or one place,
Yeah.
they QAs get opportunities to work on mostly everywhere, and
Correct.
there is nothing that a person cannot fit into another domain or another
True.
technology, right? QAs fit in everywhere.
Yes.
So that is the best part of QA. And with this, what happens when you get an opportunity to work on different clouds?
Hmm.
First and foremost, what happens? You get to know about them, right? What are the different clouds in Salesforce? You get to know about them, what each cloud works on.
Hmm.
Post that, what happens when you are working on a project? You get to know a decent functional knowledge on it, right? You
True.
spend some good amount of time. You I think QAs are the best person who knows
Hmm.
the complete functionality, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everybody teaches out QA how this will work, what happens when this is done or so. So you are the functional champions.
Yeah.
Third, and the best thing what I feel is you get to know 360-degree view of the business. You
Hmm.
know your client, you know what are their businesses,
True.
how they work, what are the key players. And
Hmm.
I don't think, apart from BAs,
Yeah.
obviously BAs
Yeah.
BAs major role itself is client facing role.
Correct.
They are working in and out through for the business. But then apart from that, take any other roles,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
just the QAs, I think, who are technically somewhat, functionally 100%,
Yeah.
and then business wise also sound. So
Correct.
they know each and everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This, with this, what I feel, you have the sense of feeling that, okay, I have gathered some
Hmm.
of the expertise into it. And
True.
if you want to consider it a way, if you want to get some challenges, if you want to involve technically, so Salesforce is full of opportunities.
True.
Go through trailheads, explore about a particular cloud maybe you're working on. Okay, and then post that, when you feel that, okay, now I have a good, decent understanding on it,
Yeah.
why not do some certification around it, right?
True.
Because when you'll try to gather it, when you'll implement it,
Hmm.
you'll face challenges, because
Correct.
when you are going through it, when you're functionally testing it, and then once you're implementing it,
Hmm.
that's a huge difference. This
Correct.
will this will probably bring you to the way where you have to dig more.
Correct.
Basically, you have
Correct.
to learn. So there's a lot of opportunities. You should have that mindset in your mind to always learn something
Correct.
wherever you are. So
Correct.
I think this can make a difference if you think in that way.
Correct. Correct. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think this is quite a convincing counter to the myth. Uh, we spoke about the technical progression, which brings me to the next myth, myth number four, that is, uh, I hear that a lot of people, they are not uh, interested or inclined towards learning programming, right? I heard a colleague of mine saying that, you know what, I wanted to move into BA or QA because I did not want to code. And now these folks have come up with automation testing, and now you're supposed to code. And every organization is asking for programming knowledge. I am sort of stuck. I tried to escape from that, and somehow this thing has come to me again, right? Now, uh, there are people who are not actually inclined towards programming, and I always say that, especially to freshers, that if you're not into programming, it doesn't mean that you cannot get into IT. There are almost 50% of the workforce in IT is not like writing down a single line of code. But as far as QA is concerned, do you think that if I do not want to, or if I do not intend to learn programming, uh, per se, I do not want to learn anything in automation or performance or any other verticals, I just want to grow into functional or manual per se, is there a way around it? And what is the best route to follow to grow into functional testing?
Yeah, so first of all, I would say that if you don't have good programming knowledge,
Hmm.
you should not give a double thought that you can't stay in IT. No, that is
Correct.
not the thing.
Correct.
With basic knowledge of programming, you can stay, and then you can look out for more,
Correct.
look out more, because if you consider automation, since you are also into automation,
Yeah.
okay, there is a good amount of programming, but there are many tools which you can say they are
Correct.
no code or
Less code
less
or
code.
codeless. Right. Right.
Yeah, right. Codeless tools are also there in the market, and they are specifically for people who do not want to code,
Correct.
or because everybody wants to reduce time
Correct.
or effort spent on things, right? So that is a different myth that automation is
Correct.
equals to coding. No,
Correct.
you will have opportunities for codeless tools. Another thing is, okay, if you don't want to dive into automation, or if you want to stick only to the functional part, what I could say is there are many domain specific roles
Correct.
where which you can look for. And I would say if you are well versed in the functional testing, right, you should always consider that wherever you go,
Hmm.
functional testing would be a base.
Hmm.
The need for automation will increase, the need
Hmm.
for performance, maybe whatever, as
Hmm.
AI also coming. So these new things will coming your way, but then the need for functional testing,
Is going to
I
be there.
consider will always stay. It is
True.
never gonna fade away. So opportunities will always be there around it.
Right. Right. So I think that's a delight for folks who do not intend to learn programming and they want to grow, of course. So here is your answer. And I feel there could be no better person than Rupal to help you with growing into. Of course, Rupal has an expertise in automation and other tools as well, but she has a very good hold on functional aspects of things. So if you want, if you need any help, any guidance, feel free to reach out to Rupal on LinkedIn. She'll be more than happy, I'm sure. So, yeah, thank you so much for that answer, Rupal. And now that brings me to the last myth of this particular episode. So I'll talk about it. So this last myth, as I was saying, is a little contrary to the last thing that we spoke about. I mean, just prior to this, that is, a lot of people feel that I have learned automation. I am an expert in automation, or I am an expert in performance or security. Now I need not do anything functionally or manually per se. I am free of manual testing finally. And I mean, even if I do not do things manually, test things manually, I reject them, I'll be able to sail through my career well. What do you think on this? I mean, I think this is not true, but I want you to share your thoughts and clarify this particular thing.
So I would say this is a wrong assumption, first of
Mm-hmm.
all.
Mm-hmm.
And why I'll say this is, okay, see, if you are in automation domain, it's obvious that you'll be mapped to automation work only,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be given for a say you'll be given projects where you have to do the automation testing. So
Correct.
it will be always like you'll be getting your role specific work itself. But sometimes it may happen, right, that you tend to work on a few things which does not involve automation.
Mm-hmm.
And where it will come up is, suppose I think for a reference, I will say that if you are the only QA, right, working on a project and the project is just in the initial phase.
Yeah.
So you start with functional testing purpose, right? You will
Mm-hmm.
go through you'll understand the project, what the functionality is gonna be. You'll work on that same test scenarios. You'll start doing some tests on your own before the product is like I would say fit for automation to run on. So that
True.
that is also a state that you may fall into. And if you have this tendency that you don't want to do any manual work, or for that matter you just want to code,
Mm-hmm.
how will you then justify with that
Yeah.
work given to you, right? Will you deny that? No. You say that no, I would be starting on my project when it is completely fit for automation? No,
Mm.
right? It should be like you should be willing to, okay,
Correct.
if required I can step into the shoes of doing manual testing. Why not? You
Mm-hmm.
should be ready for it. And I would
Mm-hmm.
say manual testers as well, they should also be always willing to learn more, right? Because sometimes it may happen that there is a need of automation, and if you know little bit you'll have this opportunity to pitch in, right?
Yeah.
You can support the automation teams as well. So I think you should always be ready
Mm.
to work apart from well, I would say from your automation role as
Correct.
well.
Correct.
Because testing is about delivering the right product, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
So the main motive of testing is delivering the right product. It doesn't
Correct.
matter if you're doing it functionally or you're involving into if you are doing it through automation.
Correct.
Automation is needed just to reduce the efforts spent by human. That's it,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So you should be ready. You should not have this thing in your mind that you won't be doing functional testing, or you'll always be focused on coding thing.
Correct.
That's what I feel.
Correct. So, uh, I think it's and as you rightly said, it's not about manual or functional. It's not about automation. End of the day, it's all about how you're delivering the product. I remember in one of my organization, one person told me there was this debate between automation and manual, and we were trying to, fresh out of college, passionate for technology. I want to code everything. We were debating that, what I want to code, I want to program. Let's automate this, let's automate that. So this person told me that, see, end of the day, the client is not at all concerned about automation or manual. Why is automation famous? Why does the client want automation? Because it's going to save time, right?
Hmm.
Now, end of the
Hmm.
day, if automation is going to take more time than manual, and you know what I'm saying, in some scenarios, automation is going to take more time. So, if I go and say to the client that, you know what, we're going to take 8 hours instead of 5 hours, but I'm going to do this using automation, they'll not agree. The reason being the simple one word answer is money. Why would they pay more for the same thing, right? So if end of the day, if you're not able to deliver, I would say the value, all in all, the client should feel okay. If I'm paying 100, I should get a utility of 150 at least, right? If you're not able to provide that math, it's of no use. So
Hmm.
I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you are trying to say is that the current era is that of a hybrid QA, right?
Exactly. It is this combination that will always survive. I would say that uh, going ahead, it is not that only functional will stay or automation will not. No,
Hmm.
we are tending or we
True.
are proceeding automations, but functional will always stay. So it is this combination. This is the hybrid
Hybrid.
testing. Actually, the correct keyword is hybrid testing
Hmm.
that will sail.
True, true. So, what do you think is the best way for a person to become a hybrid tester? If let's suppose, and I know, and of course, a lot of people think that there is only manual and automation, but there are other verticals as well. For example, performance security. So, what do you think is the right way for a person to start on the hybrid QA journey, for especially for freshers or people who are just starting out on this journey as a QA? What path should they follow for them to call themselves as a hybrid QA? And is hybrid QA a combination of functional automation or functional performance? Or is it a combination of functional plus automation plus performance plus security? What is the ideal way around it?
Okay. So first of all, I would say first focus should be on functional QA.
Okay.
You try to be a well-versed,
Hmm.
like I would say, make it as a proficiency for you, that
Correct.
okay, functionally you're too good. You know how you need to test one application,
Hmm.
because functional testing is also not easy.
Correct.
Everybody doesn't have that mindset
Yeah.
to test correctly. So
Correct.
first of all, gather the insight, gather the importance of this role. Once you are done, once you are good enough in the functional role, I would say seek for opportunities which you want to go into, because
Okay.
everything is different. Automation is different.
Mm-hmm.
Automation will include some or the other programming things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to involve into the logic building. You'll have to code. For that matter, even if you're working on a low code tool, but
Correct.
still few instructions you'll have to write, or maybe a little bit of logic
True.
implementation you'll have to do.
True.
So
True.
find out what you want to go into. Security is different. Security is basically, uh, I am not very much into security testing, but what I can say is you need to make your application safe from the cyber attacks, or
Mm-hmm.
nobody can get into it. So there is another, this is a very different domain, and that is also very important.
Yeah.
So try explore if you want to go into that way. Performance is making, or I would say trying to look if your product is fit
Yeah.
with the how robust it is, or how it is gonna perform, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there also we'll have some different tools to measure, right? How you can assess if the application is fit with the performance wise or not. So these are all different domains, but if you want to explore into things, you should know first of all about all
Correct.
of it. What is your interest? What do you want to pursue as an additional thing? Go into that. And and I would say, don't, if you are very versed, if you are very much expert and you want to go into all of it, for sure you can go ahead. You have plenty of time, you can try exploring things.
Mm-hmm.
But then, even if you have two of these skills right with you, you can be a good hybrid tester, I would say. Even if
Got it.
two skills you have, that will work. And if you want to explore more, it's beyond, yeah, like it's beyond less, I would say. There is so much to look
Correct.
into, so you
Correct.
can then pursue on that.
So, all in all, what you're saying is that for a person to be a hybrid QA, minimum two skill sets are critical for you. Minimum two verticals knowledge is critical for you. Out of which, functional is the prerequisite or the prime. I mean, it has to be there. Plus, you can combine it with automation or security or performance depending upon your interest. Right.
Right, right.
Cool. So I think we have discussed a lot of famous myths around it. We have debunked them with logic and facts. So thank you so much for being here, Rupal. And I genuinely am very happy that I got a chance to discuss this with you. You accepted my invitation. And I feel that people who are just transitioning into this domain of quality analysis, if they are able to, I would say, if out of 10 people, at least three or four people change their minds as in they save themselves from that anxiety, that fear of the unknown after watching our podcast, I think our job is more than done. So, to the viewers, please watch this thing again if you want to any information on any of the myth which is more close to your heart or is affecting you more. Uh, and don't worry. I mean, see, when you deep dive into something new, things are going to go bad, be it in any domain. But one thing that I would say, and what Rupal has also said, that please always try to take advice from well-informed resources, from genuine resources, just instead of just going and reading it from anywhere. For example, from any random reel on Instagram, just getting fearful out of it, right? And on the closing note, I'm sure that if you have any queries or any concerns, please feel free to Rupal, and I'm sure she'll be more than happy to help you out. So yeah, I think that's all. And if you have any suggestions for us, anything you want us to create an episode on the topic of your choice, please feel free to comment on this video, and we'll be more than happy to help. So finally, thank you so much, Rupal, again for being here. It was an awesome session, an amazing session with you, and I hope that going forward in future as well, we come up with some more topics to so we get to meet you again and we get to record again. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you again.
Thank you for the opportunity, Chaitanya. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.